Good afternoon. Let's call the meeting to order. MPO Policy Committee meeting. Date November the 15th, 2023. It is 1:35 p.m. Dr. Victor Trevino, Mayor. We'll start with the agenda. Roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Briones will help with the roll call.
Good afternoon. Judge Tano Tijerina. Mayor Dr. Victor D. Trevino.
Present.
Councilmember Melissa Cigarroa. Present. Councilmember Ruben Gutierrez.
Present.
Commissioner Jesse Gonzalez. Commissioner John Galo. Councilmember Vanessa Perez.
Present.
Mr. Epigmenio Epi Gonzalez.
Present.
Mr. Jed Brown. For the record, Mayor, you do have a quorum.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to excuse the members that are absent today.
Second. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll proceed with citizens' comments. Speakers are required to fill out witnesses' card and must be submitted to MPO staff no later than 1:45 p.m. the day of the meeting. Speakers shall identify themselves in a microphone. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No more than 3 persons will be allowed to speak on any side of any issue. Should there be more than 3 people who wish to speak on a specific item, they should select not more than 3 representatives to speak on their behalf. The presiding officer may further limit public or, on the interest of time, order time. Speakers may not transfer their minutes to any other speaker. Comments should be relevant to MPO business and delivered in a professional manner. No derogatory remarks should be permitted. Citizens' comments. We have Edward D. Garza.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the MPO. Edward Garza here with Crane Engineering. Our firm represents the Unitech Property Owners Association, and we also represent the Port Grande Development. I wanted to speak to you about agenda item Roman numeral 4F, which talks about the traffic congestion at Unitech Industrial Park and the possible action that you may be taking at this meeting. I wanted to just share with you some factual information, if I could, for the next 3 minutes. I'm sure you all are very much aware about the traffic congestion that's occurring at mile marker 13. We all know that TxDOT is currently under final design and will be bid letting their portion of the project next October. At Unitech, Unitech has been around for over 34 years, and Unitech, the Property Owners Association, is comprised of over 83 property owners within 9 phases of this park. Unitech comprises 750 acres. Port Grande next door comprises currently 270 acres. Some of the most notable people that use this facility for their business include Warner Enterprises, Daniel B. Hastings, Swift Transportation, and we also have a Pilot Travel Center there, to name a few. The development is primary warehousing, and primary access to Unitech is from Carriers Drive and Uniroyal Drive, which are primary arterials. Our existing street system is 34 years old and requires updating. These companies here are experiencing some heavy traffic congestion problems. They all employ local families, and they contribute to our local economy. And just to give you perspective on property tax value for the Unitech property, in 2018, the total tax revenue for our community was about $5.2 million. And in 2023, it's currently projected up to $7.5 million in property taxes, which represents about a 43% increase from 2018. So you can see there's a substantial amount of investment that is currently being held there at the Unitech Industrial Park. The POA has been actively working with the county, the city, and TxDOT over the last 5 years to help improve traffic circulation. Every entity has been helping as they can to help promote traffic improvement and circulation and signage and those kind of things, but the time has come, especially with the TxDOT improvements, the time has come for our community to do something more than just restriping and signage. Traffic congestion at the Unitech Industrial Park has been getting worse. We hear reports from many of the employees and owners that they experience a 60-minute time delay just to get home from work, just to get out of the park. And so imagine that we had a first responder call for fire or emergency in that park with that type of delay, it could be the potential for a disaster. And just to give you some perspective on traffic count data, so traffic counts, there at the Carriers intersection, which is the overpass at I-35, at that intersection, the average daily traffic from the TxDOT count data was 19,400 average daily traffic, or ADT, daily. Within Uniroyal, there's been a traffic count of 8,000 vehicles, average ADT. And then just south of I-35, just south of the Uniroyal interchange along I-35, the traffic count there is 44,000 ADT. Just north of the Uniroyal intersection with IH-35, along IH-35, the traffic count there is 29,365 ADT. So you can see the abundance of traffic generation that this location is experiencing and has been growing over the years. And of course, there's additional development that we all have seen on the west side of I-35. That's been over 1,000 acres of platting that's occurred over the last 7 years. So as I mentioned just now, TxDOT is in the final design. They're going to improve our Uniroyal interchange for all of us. They're going to build a new interchange at Ruthinger, north of the Uniroyal. And I understand that's going to be built as phase 1. There's going to be new improvements in that area that's going to help alleviate some of this traffic. So what we need to do, and also I want to mention that the Kansas City Southern Railroad is under construction, which blocks the Uniroyal interchange and also any other street crossing that interacts at grade level with the railroad. As you all know, the bridge is under construction. In talking with the railroad, they're planning to finish that project by March of 2025. And so they intend on opening that bridge for commerce in the very near future. And so we were involved in some of the work, and one of the things I've noticed is how many trains cross our rail on a daily basis. It's incredible to see. And you don't really realize it until you're there watching it, how many trains we cross here in Laredo. And so obviously that's going to be a major component to monitor traffic congestion at Unitec. So what we're saying, so what we are requesting your review and approval on is to help us to extend an industrial arterial to the east and to the north and tie in on the east side of the Ruthinger interchange. So this way the full interchange can be developed into a full interchange supporting the Achar-Ruthinger Road to the west, and then with a new road coming in from the east, which would help alleviate the traffic congestion that's currently experienced at the at Unitec Industrial Park. So recently, City Council, we made the same presentation before City Council. In the City Council, in that City Council request, we asked them to update the thoroughfare plan for the city to incorporate this Unitec relief route, to authorize a feasibility study, to confirm road alignment and the budgets, to coordinate between this body, the MPO, RMA, the TxDOT, and Webb County and the City of Laredo, to prioritize this project and try to locate some funding sources, and to also, add this project to the North Laredo TRZ study. The City Council approved that request. And so that's the request we'd like for this body to consider and to approve as well. So I'll close by saying that the benefits of this Unitec relief route would include improving the traffic circulation and the level of service for trucks and park employees. It would improve first responder time within the Unitec Park. It would improve safety around the TxDOT construction zones while TxDOT's under construction, and we can move truck traffic in different directions and protect the employees. It would reduce air pollution. It would also reduce hauling costs for companies that work within Unitec and allow their trucks to move more effectively. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Mayor.
All right, and what we'll do is we'll go into that 4F in a while, but we need to approve the minutes.
Mayor, that's my motion, to approve of the minutes of the meeting held on October 18, 2023.
All right,
Second.
motion, second. Motion to approve the minutes for the meeting held on October 18, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved.
Mayor, we may bring up item number 4F, what was just spoken about right now.
Yes, let's go ahead and proceed with for motion.
Second.
Let's proceed with 4F that we have discussed. Discussion with possible action on the traffic congestion issues at Unitec Industrial Park and other matters incident thereto, requested by City of Laredo. So we just heard the public citizens' comments.
Mayor, do we have a presentation?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so for this item, this was something requested by the city of Laredo for us to have a discussion. So I did want to show this item today and just talk about what we can do to support through the MPO. This is definitely something that we can look as we're doing our metropolitan transportation plan and start updating that as well. I do have the map of the thoroughfare plan that I can pull up right now and show you what work I know the city planning department has done too in there. So I'll go up to the podium to show you that, and we can have a discussion about what we can do as an MPO. I know the city's also doing stuff with the TRC and things like that, but there's definitely ways that we can help. Sometimes it might be more long-term, but we can also see what we can do maybe, in a shorter term.
Perfect, please.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead.
It's my understanding that there's an association for this development, like a homeowner association for this industrial development park. Is that true? Maybe we can work with them in some of the assessments that they collect and use that for some of these improvements, because I know that we're facing this congestion issue also in the Mines Road area. And as far as the TRZ, I know we've included, at first I had suggested Mines Road, but we had, through Dr. Marte's request, included North Laredo, so it would extend east of 35 to include this area as well. And I believe the RMA is helping with that study, but I don't know if anybody from the RMA is here to speak on that. I think Melissa is. I don't know if she can speak to that. Maybe after
The presentation.
Mr. Mendoza.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show you all the thoroughfare plan that the city of Laredo does have, that they do through their planning department and approved by city council. Right, so it does show a route here on Unitech Drive connecting right to an out and then connecting to a Char Ruthinger. So there is some plans, in place there. Also with the Majestic development that you're going to see here on the east side of that, which we know that's going to bring a lot of growth. I know the planning department, and we've had conversations with them. We're looking at how we can create connectivity to the future roadways, future outer loop, and all that as well. So there's plans in place, but a lot of this, requires the development to happen for these roads to be put in. Through the MPO, like I mentioned, we have our congestion management plan. There are strategies that we can do beyond building roadways that we can look at, right? Like, shifting, working hours and things like that, shuttle programs, different things that we can look at as well. It's a little bit more outside the box. That's definitely something that we can explore. We're definitely going to put this into our MTP. We'll be looking at this, engage with the stakeholders to make sure that we have the correct, or the roads that are here in the thoroughfare plan, and identify other roads as well that might be needed in our long-range transportation plan to be able to allocate future funding. What we can do as an MPO also is initiate some type of task force that we can help coordinate the way that we were doing, that TxDOT and the private sector was doing with Mines Road, right? Something like that might be beneficial as well. So the MPO staff is willing to take on that effort if it's something that you all feel is feasible. I know we had a conversation with our tech committee about this. There's no easy solution, right? We know the congestion exists. It's pretty landlocked out there. You have the railroad in the south, and it's just very limited
I've got a question.
access.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, just a question. What can we do meanwhile, right now, for the short term? Because, I'm sorry, TxDOT also, is there a way we can expand that road, the access road on 35 heading northbound? Because that's what's causing a lot of the congestion. We have the congestion trying to turn into Unitech itself, and they're blocking Carriers Drive, which is the exit, or one of the exits for that particular park. Is there a way we can expand that right now, TxDOT, by chance? I'm talking about the artery next to 35, the access road.
So the access road is part of that project that we're going to be where we're going to be reconstructing the overpass, and we're going to be actually converting traffic, and we're talking about the Uniroyal, right?
At Uniroyal, right, correct.
So we're going to be converting the frontage roads from two-way operation to one-way operation.
Okay.
So that's also going to help with traffic operations there.
Okay. Well, but at that particular point, heading northbound on that access road, it's already a two-lane, one-way heading northbound.
Heading north.
Is there a way we can actually expand it now? And I'm talking about the short term. because of the fact that they're causing congestion at carriers. So 5:30 come around 6 o'clock, trying to come out of that area is just, it's horrible. It's really bad. I mean, like I mentioned before, an hour to get out sometimes. And that is one of the issues, that the tractors literally back up to there, and we just can't have officers standing at every corner to be directing traffic to keep that artery open for people to be heading southbound on 35 back home.
I mean, we can certainly take a look at it, but I mean, we, like Juan mentioned, you know, we do have that project that's letting, you know, basically less than a year from now. So, I mean, anything that would be done would be really short term.
Short term. And that's what I want for now, because you're talking about letting out in a year or so, and by the time the project is done, of course, we're talking another year and a half down the line. So we're talking 3 years.
Yeah.
So I'm just talking, you know, maybe short term to try to expand that, or even the lanes on Carrier Drive, you know, heading westbound, trying to get out of that park, that industrial park, trying to expand that, because I know some of those lanes are really wide, and I know they have to be because of tractors, but the fact of the matter is if we can fit in one more lane of traffic trying to get out of there, it may help us with trying to get traffic out a little quicker, a little sooner, a little safer.
Right. I know it'd be interesting to see, you know, how many people, I know there's some facts on that, how many people are working out there. There's a lot of trucks out there, but, you know, seeing there'd be a way to maybe shuttle a lot of the employees in, if that would have an impact. I know it would at least reduce the number of vehicles out there, but then you'd have to give a priority to that shuttle, right, to find a way to use that through a lane or something.
Right.
But that might be something that we could
I
explore.
haven't been out there in a while, but I know the lane coming in on Carriers, is it 1 or 2 lanes coming in if you're traveling eastbound on Carriers from 35?
Driving east. We'll see, is it
It's
one?
two and two, or it's 2 and 2. There's no turn lane.
So is it possible the people exiting
Right.
to reduce it to 1 lane coming in, 3 lanes going out versus 2? And I'm just thinking because people trying to get home after work, it's a huge problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we could explore with the traffic department. You know, that would be something that they need to look at. I know they had looked at a circulation plan a few years ago on this issue, and we could revisit that as well. I don't know if that was implemented, but
Like I say, just a short-term,
yeah,
you know, solution for now,
It can be
because
done in-
this project won't be done for 3.5 years from now, so it's gonna take a while.
yeah, and that's what we can offer right now. It's more like short-term solutions that are temporary,
Right.
but we definitely want to fix this in the long term as well. So, and as an MPO, that's our role to look to see what can be developed out there, right? But also thinking beyond just building roads and things like that. What else can we do? I think it's important.
Mayor, may
Yes, go ahead.
I? In that, when you're talking about shuttling, what departments does the city need to involve in order for that to go more rapidly? So you can either, you know, identify land or have the authority to ask perhaps some of these warehouse owners if they have some extra land where a shuttle facility would be advisable. And then also, Mr. Gonzalez, is there a way, because I'm assuming the access road is under TxDOT purview and the city traffic can't do anything about controlling traffic on there, is there a way to coordinate with them so that perhaps we can have this emergency designation for those shuttles, some way that they can move more easily within the traffic so that they can get, you know, employees? I think, you know, it reduces the amount of traffic inside the area, which is good, but it's only going to work if there's a benefit to the people who are working, right? If they're not stuck in an hour in a shuttle versus their own car, they're not going to see any benefit to it. In order that, you know, there's some special designation so these shuttles can move safely, but also, you know, get people to where they need to go. And it's going to have to be something that's convenient too. So heavy in the morning, heavy in the afternoon, so that there's a benefit and they'll use it.
So we're definitely more than happy to work with the city and, you know, MPO and others, you know, to try to find some sort of short-term relief, right? And, you know, one of the things, I know we've had similar issues, you know, around schools and things like that. And, you know, one of the things that's always been kind of floated is having some sort of maybe staggered, you know, hours, you know, where not everybody comes in at the same time and not everybody's trying to leave at the same time, right? So I don't know if that's a possibility, you know, of implementing some of those things as well.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
There's no overpass right now over the train right now, right? From this, if the train's there, you get stuck?
Carriers.
Carriers has one?
Yes, carriers.
Okay, Carriers has one and that goes over the train, so the train doesn't completely stop traffic?
Correct.
Okay, well, and that gets congested and blocked. Is there any way that we can look into adding a turning lane, an additional kind of lane to turn for the people that are turning right versus going straight across? Would that improve the intersection at all?
Well, I mean, the thing is, right now is, we have, I mean, it is a bridge structure, right? So, I mean, we don't have the room, but I know we are working on, you know, possibly adding some additional, I guess, capacity. I don't know, I guess I can ask Roberto if he has any other information that he'd like to share with the committee as far as, you know, what other options, I guess, we have.
Well, Mayor, if I may, I mean, I'm not thinking like another lane that curves. I'm thinking maybe like a line, like more of a straight line, kind of taking, you know, connecting from I-35, kind of like a straight line to make another, you know, for if you're gonna go north on 35, you take that route instead of waiting at the intersection. If that would benefit at all.
Yes, Roberto Rodriguez with Text. At one time, we actually look at even building direct connectors at that area. So kind of connectors, but the problem we have is the right-of-way restriction at carriers. You know, even with the improvements that we can make at Carriers Drive, it's the restriction there is within Carriers itself. You know, it's mainly will take quite a bit of right-of-way, you know, in that area.
Well, who owns the right of way now?
Well, it's I guess the warehouses or.
So it is not public right away.
And or Union Pacific own it.
Well, Union Pacific rather than crossing, but there's down the line. Like if you say, one time, like I said, we had the concept of building some direct connectors, similar to what we have like in Mines Road and 35, you know. But that was the main concern, you know, the landing area. And then do we have the flow, you know, let's say you're coming out of those bridges, can you go free flow into the few blocks down the road? And that's when we start looking at some of the right-of-way restrictions that we have.
Well, Mayor, if I may.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
mean, because a truck to make this turn is going to take longer than if the truck could kind of bypass. And if we have representatives from the association who own the property, maybe we can work out some kind of agreement to improve this particular intersection going north as a starting point to kind of move the trucks out a little quicker. It's going to be pretty expensive probably, you know, but I mean, as far as options go, I'm not seeing a whole lot until the Hachar-Ruthinger interchange comes in, and that's going to be a couple years.
Yes, Councilwoman, one more thing I want to add. I think, I mean, we all have ideas, but is there a certain committee or some experts that might let them know what's the best thing to do to alleviate the congestion there? Who would help?
We actually, when we developed the schematic for this location, we came up with about 6 or 7 alternatives. We even talked about double elevated and all these things. But all the improvements we do within the interchanges and 35, the impact is not there. It's when they go into the industrial park.
That's the constraint.
That's a major constraint. For example, when we look at Uniroyal, we look at the alternative of building a bridge over the railroad too. But then it was going to go from 2 to 3 lanes to one stop sign, 1 block down the road. So when we did the traffic analysis, we say, okay, we're going to spend another $60-70 million to build that other segment of the bridge to solve the problem for 2-3 years, because we're still going to have it. The congestion is going to be just on the bridge; it's not going to be on the ground anymore. So there were a lot of studies that had been done in this area to determine, you know, the best alternative.
Okay, but the best short-term answer right now. We
Well,
probably need to
at
focus
one time, city traffic was working on doing a one-way in Carriers, going in a circle, just having one way, going in a circle and coming out through Union Royal, eliminating the exit through Carriers. You know, doing some kind of a circle mechanism, but I don't know how far they got city traffic. That was a few years back when they were looking at that. And that's why we were, that time, you know, we were not going to allow to connect on the west side of Carriers on 35, because we're going to limit everything to just as an entrance.
Okay. I think we need to come up with a certain solution or focus on a certain way to do it.
Yes, sir.
and work on that.
Yeah, Mayor, you asked about a committee or something like that. So our technical committee is made up of, technical experts, from the city and the county, TxDOT. So, we are tasked with looking at reducing congestion through a congestion management process as well. That's something that we're starting right now. But we can look at it through that committee. But I think maybe it would be a good effort to also involve stakeholders in this process, that we did in Mines Road, right? The property owners to see, that way we can look at whether solutions may exist. So I think I agree with you that some type of committee or task force
One last question.
should be formed.
One last comment.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just a question. This is more to El Metro. RJ, do we have a route going out there to the 13-mile marker to Unitech? Because we're talking about trying to get less traffic out there, and if we get employees to meet at one particular spot, El Metro goes to pick them up, drops them off, and then brings them back, and that would alleviate some traffic.
RJ, got us up for the record. Transit Director, we currently don't have any service out in that particular area.
Okay. Okay.
Is that still considered city limit?
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe we can discuss something with the MPO and El Metro.
Yeah, we can definitely take a look.
Yeah,
See-
specifically during those peak hours, 7 a.m. to 9, and then of course in the evening from 5 to 7, see if maybe you'll be able to come up with something to get less traffic trying to come out of there and in there at those particular peak times.
Mayor, man?
We'll have to
Yeah,
discuss that.
let me just add one
Yes,
comment.
of course.
And before, at the next meeting we have, if you can give us some update and report to see what we identified as the best step to take.
Yeah, we can do that. We can help lead an effort to have these discussions.
Yes,
Keep
Councilwoman,
that
you wanted to
ball
say
rolling.
things?
I just wanted to bring up again, I know during the RMA workshop, we talked about having a TRZ or expanding it or reformulating it so that it wouldn't just focus on one industrial park, but it would include the land that is really directly related to our city services, right? All the roads that we need to be able to create pathways for business to move in more quickly. And I believe Mr. Gonzalez, we wanted to talk with the county because there was some discussion about hesitation to accept the first proposed TRZ. And if I'm messing this up, please, Ms. Montemayor, with TIRZ, I apologize. Those terms still aren't very convenient for me. But what we discussed at the workshop was to expand the footprint so that it would alleviate the concerns that it's not just, certain businesses that are benefiting, but really it's a city-county type of benefit. And maybe if we could get that back on track so we can find some funding to help relieve this congestion.
Sure. No, of course.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to ask a question also.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'm looking at the map on following Copper Drive. I see that there is kind of like a makeshift road at the very northern part of this development. Is that an official improved road or not?
Which one?
Okay, that one right there, yeah. Like where Copper Drive and then to the left and then it crosses over the tracks and then it hits 35. Is that an improved official road or is that just kind of like a makeshift dirt road?
You want me to answer that?
Please.
I don't know the answer. Also, I was going to ask.
Because I'm not too familiar with this, but I'm looking at this as maybe another
I
opportunity.
don't think it is because we probably would have put it on the thoroughfare plan if it was. But
because it doesn't look like an official city road.
And so for the record, Edward Garza. Councilwoman Pettis, it's not an improved road. It's a dirt road. It's commonly known as Doctor's Road. It's more of an access to the property further to the east. The city uses it also for access to the city's wastewater treatment plant, which is just off the map to the east. But ever since the Sophia Industrial Park was constructed, when they built that street of copper, as you mentioned, Union Pacific took the opportunity to shut down the access crossing across the railroad track at that spot. So there's no longer access over the railroad that people were enjoying. They took that off because it was never permitted as per their records.
Okay, because, Mayor, if I may?
Go ahead.
I mean, just looking, that looks like a good opportunity there, but then I'm seeing the purple line, which is basically the Hachar-Rusinger interchange, right? Is that correct? Well, what is that line from Mercury coming to Copper Drive? What is that line?
Purple line?
Purple segment from Mercury to Copper. What is
another industrial collector that's proposed. It's another
that? Is
roadway.
it funded?
No, that's just on a thoroughfare plan, so if the development comes out here, then the developer would be responsible for putting that road,
Which developer?
or whatever developer would develop out in this area. So,
Mayor, I think this is gonna be the biggest opportunity here is getting that Mercury to Copper Drive
To connect together.
connector going. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's probably something that we should get on our radar sooner than later and see what we can do to incentivize the connection there, and maybe we can work on like a tours. I think the TRZ is only there to catch the increment, but the TIRZ we can work on in developers who are willing to put in the infrastructure up front, and then we reimburse them over time for their investment, right? So maybe we can explore the possibility of incentivizing that connection there to accommodate our thoroughfare plan and get that thing going sooner than later, because that's going to probably be the thing that's going to help this development the most.
Right.
And we can get creative with funding if the association's willing to help pitch in. We can do some funding maybe through the MPO, and maybe go out for some federal funding as well, since it does cross I-35. I'd like to hear what Epi has to say about that, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead. So, Ms. Perez, I would like to, I'm not sure who's controlling the screen. Oh, you are, oh, okay. Can you zoom out a little bit, Juan?
Zoom out.
Thank you. Is that line there on the north, kind of like that darker line there, is that the proposed char roof
Yes.
interior? So, I mean, that's where char roof interior is gonna connect. So I think there's also an opportunity to connect, you know, for example, Copper Drive or, you know, north to a char, but on the east side. I think that's something also that could, you know, provide that additional connectivity, right? So anyway, I just kind of wanted to throw that as an option, as an alternative.
So what do you think, Mayor, if I may? So the idea of this, what I said about connecting from the purple, is that not feasible?
Well, that would require another possible overpass across 35, right? That would require another connection over the railroad track. So if you know, we're already proposing an overpass or underpass at Char Roofing. So
Well, Mayor, if I may, I don't understand why we have the purple line on our thoroughfare plan if it doesn't seem like it's feasible, given the fact that we've got the Char Ruthinger coming. And what I'm hearing from TxDOT is the preference would be to go all the way up to Char Ruthinger versus connecting here according to our map. That doesn't seem to be lining up with something that TxDOT is in line with. Like, who put that purple line on that map?
yeah, well, that thoroughfare plan, I mean, it's like I mentioned, the planning department, but these are different classifications of roads. So that purple one is a proposed industrial collector, so it's to help, you know, with the circulation there. And then, of course, you have a char, which is going to be a principal arterial, so I think it's a different classification of roads. So it's to create that connectivity. So more than anything is to create more connectivity, because there's a lot of, as you can see, there's a lot of sparseness out here. So I think it's just to create another opportunity for this development that you see here on the northwest side of 35 in this area. So it's to making sure that there's connectivity and access to that.
So I would like to also add another comment. So anytime that we're, you know, proposing, you know, some sort of grade separation on 35, we also have to consider the access, right? The ramps, the entrance and exit ramps, and those type of things. So there's a, you know, anytime we're going to modify that access, we have to do what we call an IAJR, Interstate Access Justification Report. So there's certain requirements as far as spacing between the ramps and those type of things that need to be met, right? So anyway, I believe the way a char and Uniroyal are set up, that's already been evaluated, that's already been approved, and so trying to, even if you know, I'm not saying that Mercury Drive would not be a you know, a possibility, but having access would be difficult. It could provide access across the interstate and across the railroad, but tying into the interstate, it would be will be perhaps a little bit difficult.
Very difficult, expensive.
Mayor, man.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Mendigo or Mayor, who do we have, or perhaps our tech stop friends, do we have someone who can contact the railroad and see, or KCS and CP, to see if that copper drive, where Mr. Gonzalez, you were mentioning that once existed access for trucks, as imperfect as it was, to see if we can get that repaved. I imagine it looks rather like a dirt road, and get that access opened, because it exists, and I don't know how difficult it would be to just get it restarted just for the meantime. I mean, understanding it doesn't seem like a terribly expensive, not knowing anything about this, a terribly expensive measure, and it's an existing relief valve. If we can just get it to be graded for trailers.
So I believe it was a gentleman that said that was not a permitted crossing, right? So again, those at any time. So Union Pacific owns the right of way. So even our roadways, whenever we're gonna cross a railroad, we have to get permission from them because they
Right.
were there first, right? So in that case, I mean that would have to be something obviously taken up with Union Pacific. So I don't know. That road is I guess
If we
it's a
can
private road. So it's a private road. It's not even a public road at this point. So
it requires coordination between Union Pacific, not KCS.
The Union Pacific.
Union Pacific and the private owner, to see if we can we do that as a city, just to get some temporary access to that and see how we can refurbish it on a temporary basis.
I mean,
Oh, hello, Mr.
Okay.
Chavez.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me how that can't be
All
done?
right, before we continue, we need expert advice on this, because we're saying all of our ideas, and they may be good, but we need somebody to give us the best way, and as soon as possible, we can report it on next
Yes.
meeting, but go ahead,
Thank
Councilman.
you. Thank
but
you.
just one thing, I want to say, just past that bridge at Unitech, it's not City of Laredo property anymore. We're not annexed north of that. So that's county property. What we're talking about now, that particular roadway, that belongs to county. We cut off at the 13-mile marker, and anything north of the 13-mile marker doesn't belong to the City of Laredo.
That's what we're discussing with you.
You're right, exactly. As far as I'm concerned, that's where we cut off. Is that true?
Mayor, and Honorable Mayor and members of the Commission, Ramon Chavez, City Engineer, we're talking about Doctor's Road, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Doctor's Road is a private road. In my experience in past years, we've, some time back, we requested for that through the railroad for that to be a secondary access, and that's been denied.
Okay.
That's been denied for safety reasons.
Union Pacific.
Yes, correct. So that access has been denied in the past. I have to go back in my records and look up that information, but I believe that request has been made in the past, and for safety reasons, they've denied it.
Denied it, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Which is a short solution
Mayor?
next time.
Yeah,
If I may.
go ahead, Councilman.
I'm still back to this purple line thing, right? The Mercury Drive to Copper Drive. It's on our thoroughfare plan. How did it get on there if it's crossing all these lanes on I-35, and why do we have it there if it's not feasible? That's what I want to know. Like, because then I rely on that. I'm looking at that thinking, oh, this, and then it's like, oh, and then TxDOT's saying that that's not really feasible. So why do we have it there, and who put it there?
Orlando Navarro, City of Laredo Planning Director, for the record. This could be the map when we were mapping. We just didn't cut it off. It should be cut off. That's the only thing that I can tell you right now, because we reviewed it from top to bottom to try to check for any errors or anything like that, and that might be one.
So who put it on there?
The planning department does it through our GIS department.
Oh.
So, but what I wanted to bring up, and it's something in the works that we have, but down this off of Port Drive, the Killam family, they're bringing a road that's going to come down this way and connect at this point right here. So the idea is once the developer puts that road in, and they have two clients already, so the clients are asking the developer to hurry up and put in that road. So we're working with them to hurry up and put that road in. If it's possible, we possibly, the access road might be able, we might be able to do a one-way at this point going southbound. And then we might be able to turn this road to a one-way out so that employees can come down Port Drive, get on the road, come down and take the access road down, and then cross over and get on the highway and go home. That's the fastest I think we can do it because the developer is building that road. They're going to put that in, but I have yet to talk to TxDOT about the potential, the idea, because if I'm not mistaken, that point right there is south of the exit ramp.
Yes.
For the trucks. So if there's no real, we can stop it from being a two-way or one-way going north, flip it around, make it go south, and then the employees can come down, they all can gather, come down Port Drive, come to the new road, get off, and then get on the side road and go down. That's one way. And if we did that, maybe we can get bus service, because in the morning, the buses probably could get in. It's the evening when they're going to have problems getting out, but if they took that one way, they can get on the access road too and come out and get out of there.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's just the.
So this proposed road, we're talking about connecting it to Port Laredo. And then Port Laredo would have them go coming southbound on the access road.
They're going to put in the road?
Right, but it's going to be, you're going to have access to go southbound on that access road. Right? Okay.
Mayor?
That would be the.
Yes, go ahead.
The only problem I see with that is that all this undeveloped land is going to be developed, and so that's going to add more, like that road is going to satisfy the growth and not necessarily provide relief for what's already there. I'd like to make a motion, Mayor, for the MPO to work together with the association here at Unitech and also with TxDOT and Union Pacific, the railroad, to revisit the idea of this access over here that we just talked about, making this a roadway that we can put on the books as official, and have discussions with the county as well on what we can do and bring us back at the next meeting some options or some of the update on this discussion.
I'll second that, but would you accept an amendment to also have El Metro involved with it as well,
yes,
please?
and on Metro too. So we can look into ride sharing or something.
Motion second as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, item number 2, 4B.
4B, yes, receive public testimony and approve resolution number MPO 2023-13, adopting the proposed revisions to the 2020-2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, MTP.
Thank you, Mayor. For this item, we need to just receive any public testimony. If anyone's here to speak for or against this item, this is in relation to the Manganaheim projects we added to the MTP at the last meeting, and the ISCO funding, the additional funding as well. We opened the 10-day public comment period, and we didn't receive any public comments, but we can still take testimony today, and we would close that and accept the revisions.
I'd like to make a motion to.
Anybody for or against? For or against? For or against?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion?
Motion
Second.
to close it and then approve.
Close and approve it. We'll introduce it.
All right, pass amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Go to 4C. Receive public testimony and initiate 10-day public review and comment period for the proposed amendments to the 2023-2026 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP.
Yeah, so this is a new set of revisions for the TIP and the MTP, and these would be brought back at our next meeting, which may be in January, to finalize these. So right now we're opening the public comment periods. Again, if anyone's here to speak for or against, but I'm going to present these items. So the 2023-2026 TIP is a federally required document which MPOs develop in cooperation with their planning partners to program mobility and transit projects for a 4-year period. The MPO TIP documents are subsequently combined to form the statewide transportation improvement program known as the STIP. TxDOT amends the STIP on a quarterly basis. Revisions to the TIP involving major changes require a public review and comment period and formal action by the MPO policy committee prior to being added to the STIP. So our MPO public participation plan also requires that 10-day public review and comment period for any amendments to the TIP. So what we're doing today is opening that public comment period for a set of TIP revisions. And this was in coordination with TxDOT. These were requested by TxDOT. There's no funding changes being requested at this time. There's just changes to project descriptions and project limits for projects already on the tip. One of them is the revision of project CSJ 0018-05089, which is the current description is replacement of bridge structure at Union Road Drive. And that's being revised to IH-35 overpass, in parentheses, reconstructed new at Union Road Drive and State Highway 84. And the limits are changing. It was from 0.5 miles south of Union Road Interchange to 2.68 miles north of Union Road Interchange. That's being updated to from 0.47 miles south of Union Road Interchange to 3.22 miles north of Union Road Interchange. The other revision is to the Lomas del Sur Boulevard project, the overpass. That's CSJ 0086-16008. The revised description would read construction of new interchange improvement at Lomas del Sur Boulevard. And the limits are being updated to from 0.58 miles south of Lomas del Sur Boulevard to 0.721 miles north of Lomas del Sur Boulevard. And the final revision in this set of revisions is project CSJ 0086-14086, US 59 Loop 20 reconstruction. Again, the purpose of this amendment is to revise the project description and the project limits as follows. The revised description would read, converting a 6-lane non-freeway facility to a 6-lane freeway facility with auxiliary lanes and frontage roads. And the limits are being updated to from Business 59 to 0.28 miles south of Jackman Road. Revisions.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the amendments as proposed.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. D. Item D. 4D. Receive public testimony and initiate a 10-day public review and comment period for the following proposed revisions to the 2020-2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, MTP.
Here again, we just need to ask if anyone's here to speak for or against. And these are for the TIP amendments. Anything that's amended to the TIP needs to be amended to the MTP as well. So we're just bringing the same changes we presented right now to revise the MTP. And you can see those on this table here. This is our MTP project listing, and it shows the different projects on here with the updated revisions and limits. Again, we just need to ask if anyone's here to speak for or against.
All right. For or against? For or against? For or against?
Motion to close and introduce.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
And next two. We already said D1.
Sorry, 4D1, do we need to go over 4D1?
No, we already
That's
did.
part of
Oh, it's part of
Part
it.
of it.
Okay.
Okay.
E.
4E. Discussion with possible action to approve resolution number MPO 2023-14 supporting the functional classification FC of Vallecillo Road and new location roadway as other principal artery.
Thank you, Mayor. Because this is a federal requirement. We did something similar at the last meeting for a charter ranger. It's required to be eligible for the federal funding. And since it's a new construction roadway, it doesn't have a functional classification. So the RMA did approve a resolution at their last board meeting to make this a principal arterial. The city thoroughfare plan also shows it as a principal arterial, and MPO staff recommends that it be classified as other principal arterial as well. We would be working with TxDOT district staff to submit this to the TxDOT statewide planning division and then to FHWA to get that functional classification change.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and move to reclassify Vallecillo as another principal arterial as requested.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We did F already, 4F, now it's 4G. Discussion with possible action on the Hachar-Rusinger Road project.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Commission, Ramon Chavez, City Engineer, may I approach you, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, as far as State Highway 84, our route engineer, we continue working diligently with TxDOT. We meet on a constant basis. We're working with 8 parcels for the right-of-way of approximately 479 acres. We've identified a 9th one that now we're going to start working with. That is part of parcel 6, and we're already working on those details. As far as the utility complex is concerned, we have received all the estimates for the utility relocations and their schedules, and we've shared that with TxDOT already. On Monday, we have a proposed city council agenda item for authorizing the city manager to execute an advanced funding agreement with TxDOT. So we received that information, and we're recommending city manager to place that on the agenda. As part of that, the state participation will cover 100% of the environmental, right-of-way mapping, PS&E, and construction costs. The city of Laredo shall acquire the necessary right-of-way and obtain the utility clearances with local funds. Our next meeting, internal meeting, will be December the 1st of this year, and I want to thank also Mayor Pro Tem for being part of those meetings, and she's well aware of everything that is going on, and we appreciate her support and the rest of the MPO. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. Number 5, reports and presentation. Status report by RMA.
Thank you, Mayor. Melissa Montemayor with LJA Engineering. We're the GEC for the Webb County City of Laredo RMA. There is a status report in your packets, and I can answer any questions. But then going back to the TRZ item that was discussed earlier, you're correct, Councilwoman Figueroa. There was a series of workshops. There were 2 workshops. I think everybody here that's on the policy committee here today attended one or both of those workshops. We did discuss the TRZ study extending north of Laredo, and then there were some subsequent discussions about extending the limits to the east. There was an October 16th City Council meeting. There was an agenda item, I believe by Councilman Tyler King, to enter into discussions with the RMA to officially extend those TRZ study area limits to the east of the Unitech area. So that is what's pending right now. The RMA stands ready to enter into those discussions with City Manager Neb. And so that's where we are right now. That's the current status.
All right.
We do have a sub-consultant, TXP, that worked on the Cuatro Vientos TRZ study. That same sub-consultant is slated to, again, work on the study, but this time in North Laredo.
Mayor,
I can answer any questions.
Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead, Councilman.
just to clarify, you all have not met with city management yet after the approval from council to go ahead and have those discussions.
We have not been approached yet,
Okay,
Councilwoman.
so we will, on our end,
Sure.
make sure that they get that happening.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. All right. Number 6, Director's Comments.
Thank you, Mayor. The director's report is in the packet. So as part of that, the 2025 Unified Transportation Program Development, TxDOT Laredo District is requesting that the technical committee participate and prioritize evaluation criteria as well as rate projects that will be considered in the next UTP for Category 2, 4, and 12 funding. This activity is being administered by TxDOT using the Decision Lens software, and the results of that outcome will be presented at the January Policy Committee with an opportunity for additional input from the committee. I know in the past we've done surveys, we've done different things. This year we're trying to use that Decision Lens software, work with the technical committee, come out with the ranking for that, and then present that to you all and provide more opportunity for your input. And that will be for unfunded projects in the upcoming UTP. Also, our FHWA representative, Kirk Fowler, will be visiting us here along with our TxDOT rep, Sara Garza, on November 21st to discuss updates on our planning activities and upcoming studies. At the end of the month, there's going to be the Association of Texas MPO Directors Fall Meeting held in Austin, which I'll be attending November 30th and December 1st. Also, as we had discussed before, we will not hold a policy committee meeting in December unless a special meeting is needed for some reason. But at this time, we don't anticipate needing a December meeting. And then the upcoming regularly scheduled meetings are our Active Transportation Committee on November 29th, 2023. And then Technical Committee will meet again January 9th, 2024. And the Policy Committee, if we do not meet in December, will meet January 17th, 2024.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, Ann,
Yes, go ahead.
I apologize, thank you, Mr. Mendiva. I apologize to Ms. Montemayor, but I actually have a question for the RMA. The Vision Zero safety plan, that study that's going to be undertaken, is there a process to ask that committee to focus on a certain area in the city?
Definitely. So a big part of the safety action plan is to have community outreach, and we're going to have an advisory committee and, various stakeholder, public outreach events to be able to collect information, what are the target points, where do we see problem areas in the community? So those are excellent opportunities to voice, hey, this part of town is where we need some safety improvements, and these are the types of safety improvements that we're looking at. The plan is multimodal. So we're not only looking at safety improvements for trucks and cars, but it's for pedestrians and cyclists as well. So yes, great opportunities for that.
Mayor?
So, I was at the MOU signing between Laredo College and the City of Laredo for recreational facilities, which is fabulous. But the president there at Laredo College expressed concern about the overpass that leads into Laredo College and that section of Laredo College land that is being used by not only the city, but also tractor trailers, school buses.
Right.
And it's just one of those where you see students, tractor trailers, pedestrians, bicyclists, all of them coming together. And so, if you'll reach out in case, for them to know ahead of time where they need to be to express those concerns, because we're hoping that would be included in the safety study.
Of course, and that's a mixed use type of an
Yes,
area.
very much so.
So, it kind of, trucks have to access that area, but you're right, there can be ways to probably improve the circulation and increase safety. We'll definitely look at that area.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Councilwoman, do you have?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you, Melissa. Just as a suggestion, also, it would probably be helpful to look at the El Metro data that we have as far as ridership of the routes that have a lot of bicycle users, because we do have some routes that where the riders use bicycles more than others, and maybe looking at where they're getting off and seeing if there's like a radius or something where we can look at improving bicycle routes for them, because I know that like for the Mines Road area on one of the routes there's a lot of bike users, and it's actually one of the heavier bike using routes that has more bike users on there. So improving whatever area there that they may need to incorporate that into that Division Zero. But going back to Mr. Mendiva's comments, I think it would also be helpful for us, because we had stated before that we want to be more present at the state level for their commissioner meetings. So as part of updates, I think it would be helpful for us to have updates on what the Texas TxDOT commissioner meetings are, when they are, so that we can make sure that we have representation from Laredo present in Austin for these meetings, because I think that really is going to help us make a difference as far as like making sure that they understand the needs that we have over there. So I'd like to make a motion for Mr. Mendiva to include updates on those meetings as part of his director's report.
All right.
Yeah,
Motion. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I was just gonna say, I've been including them when there's definitely relevant stuff to the Laredo MPO and stuff, but we can just go ahead and let you know for every
Please.
month when it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Mayor, one more question,
Yes.
if I may. Do we need a motion to not have a meeting in December and move it to January 17th?
Our bylaws only state that we have to meet twice a year, so
Okay,
we're not
fantastic. So we're
adopting
okay
an
with
official calendar.
Okay, unless an emergency arises.
And I did ask the chair, when I met with him for the pre-agenda, I did ask him about that, if we need an item, but
We're
I
okay.
think we're okay.
Okay, sounds good. Motion to adjourn?
Real quick, before we adjourn, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to comment here. I want to thank our counterparts here from the city as a whole. I wasn't here at the last meeting, and I know Anthony Gatsa presented some good items, and the judge and Commissioner Gillo were present. But I appreciate you all looking at the big picture here and working together, city, county, TxDOT, RMA. I think that's the best route, and we can all see and share the same vision. So I know I couldn't comment. We were trying to hook up, and I was, having bad reception, but I really just wanted to thank you guys, and hopefully we continue to work together. We see a lot of projects unraveling and getting ready to roll, and it's exciting for Webb County and City of Laredo. So
Thank you for that comment. I think we work better together. We're stronger together.
thank you.
Thank you for that.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion, next meeting, Thursday, November the 9th, 2023, at 5 p.m. Oh, sorry. January 17th, back in time.
2024.
January 17th, 2024. Correct.
Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Go back in
24,
time.
chica.